So if you live in Germany or follow German politics, you know that the Alternative for Deutschland party, the AFD, has got a pretty bad rap. And that's basically because they've been smeared and defamed by mainstream politicians who will do anything to clutch onto their power. And so their tactic of smearing the whole party is to basically find one or two bad apples that have some right-wing background or have done something in their past that would classify them as right-wing extremists. And they use those few examples to basically defame and smear the whole party, which is of course completely unfair. But that's how they roll. That's how they do their shit. You know what I'm saying? That's their tactic. And, you know, I'm a big proponent of fighting fire with fire. I believe that the only way people learn a lesson in life is if they have to feel the pain of what they've done to somebody else. So, basic principle. Somebody hits me, I'm going to hit them back twice as hard and twice as much. That's it. They're going to learn a lesson. And I think that goes the same in politics. I think by allowing them to smear the AFD party, that journalists in this country are not doing their job. You know what I mean? Because they're basically focusing on one party. So I challenge anybody out there that's a real journalist or calls themselves a real journalist that has any integrity at all. Why don't you start digging around into the lives and the past of these mainstream politicians, the other people in Bundestag here in Germany that are calling the shots, the people in the Green Party, the people in the other parties that are now in power. Why don't you go looking around in those people's past? And I mean, look, you don't even need to hire a private detective or any shit like that. The internet will be full of information about these people, what their positions were in the past, what their positions are today. You can even use the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, to go look at things they wrote, things that they said in the past, that probably, if you look at it under the lens of today, would be considered racist or far right or alt-right. So go back, find the skeletons in the closet of these people, because I'm telling you, they have them. They have them. They're just not being focused on. The only people being focused on is the AFD. The only people that people are looking at is the AFD, because they want so desperately to denounce and defame this party because they want to hold on to their own power. But I suggest that the people that are in the AFD definitely must know some journalists and some people that are on their side. And I would say, hire these people to go do some digging into the corruption and the shit that these other people in power have done. And I'm sure you'll find something. And start putting that on the news. Start spreading that around. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, because I guarantee you, you're going to find some nasty shit. People in politics don't have empty, no skeletons in their closet. You know what I mean? They've all got skeletons. All of them. Some worse than others. So if we want to start playing this game about, well, you know, there's a couple of far-right people in the AFD party, let's assume that that's true then. And, you know, if we want to play this game of mudslinging, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, people. And I think that if a journalist or a private citizen with some time starts digging into these people, they're going to find some shit that those people do not want the public to know. And most of it will be out there on the internet to find. You just have to know where to look and know how to look. You know what I mean? Know how to look. Don't use Google, for example. Use Brave browser or Tor browser. You know what I mean? Use the Internet Archive. Go find information about what these people have done and said in their lives, and I am sure you will find some nasty fucking people. You'll find some corrupt people. You'll probably find some pedophiles. You'll probably find some really, really awful people. And then take that shit, put that shit on the news, or give it to alternative media to publish it, and then we'll see. Because they opened this box. They're the ones who wanted to start this game, you know? It's the same thing as what's happening in America with Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats opened the Pandora's box of now being able to prosecute and try to jail your political opponents. So they opened this box, and they are going to reap the whirlwind of it when it comes time for them to be exposed. And they were already being exposed. I mean, look, Joe Biden has been now proven to be the most corrupt president that the United States has ever had. He's committed basically treason. And yes, nothing has happened to him. That's right. That's nothing happened to him because he's in the control of the Department of Justice. But you see that the Republicans are starting to wake up to this, and they are starting to try to fight fire with fire. I do believe they need to put a little more oomph into it. You know what I'm saying? They need to grow a little bit bigger balls and start really going after these Democrats. But I think we can play the same game in Germany. The mainstream politicians started it, and I think that the AFD supporters, journalists with integrity, and private citizens with extra time on their hands that would like to contribute to the cause, I think that we're going to be able to find a lot of dirt on these mainstream fuckers. You know what I mean? And I think that all that shit should be published for the people to see, so that the people get a clear view of what's going on. Because right now, most of Germany is just watching mainstream TV, mainstream news, and the only thing they're ever going to hear about bad politicians is anything about the AFD. So I think it's time to really inform the public. I think it's time for the public to be informed about all the Bundestag Abgeordnete, so the elected officials. I think it's time for everybody to find out who these people all really are. And like I said, I think with a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, knowing where to look, knowing where to find it, I think you will find a lot of stuff. I keep saying in my other videos, here's the example. Friedrich Merz, the leader of the CDU party, was on TV talking about immigrants coming here for immigration tourism, which is, by today's standards, a pretty racist thing to say. And then he also called Turkish children little Turkish pashas, which means they're basically little Turkish spoiled brats that get protected by their parents against the teachers at their schools because they act up. And basically that's actually a racist thing to say. You know what I'm saying? Not by today's standards, but by any standards. By any standards. So that's just one example, people. One example that's right there out in the open for everybody to see. I think people should start pushing that message. Who's racist? Friedrich Merz is racist. Who's racist and right-wing? Friedrich Merz is racist and right-wing. I think that's where we need to go. I think we need to start smearing these people the same way they're smearing the AFD. And the way to do that is to dig up the dirt on those people, because it's there. It's there. Politicians are probably the most dirty fuckers there are. No matter whose side you're on, no matter who, that's the way the game is played, unfortunately. It's too bad, but in this case, it's helpful, because like I said, you're going to find some good shit on these people. Do it, people. I challenge any journalist that calls themselves a journalist, a real journalist. If you call yourself a real journalist, and you call yourself a journalist with integrity, and a journalist that looks at situations neutral like you're supposed to do, and you report the facts, I think you people should start doing the fair thing and start looking into the backgrounds of all the politicians and not just the AFD. That would be the fair thing to do. That would be the right thing to do. And that would make it so that the people of Germany actually see the truth and not just a one-sided portion of a story, which is what they're living off of now. That's it. That's the challenge. So if you're a real journalist, go for it. Show us. Prove it. Be a real journalist.